What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Worlds Podcast. I'm Jake, and with me, as always, is the Frenchie to my Moon Knight. It's Casey. What's up, buddy?
Oh, ho, ho, au contraire. I mean, that's the only French I know. But I wish I could have been Tigra instead. But whatever.
Well, I didn't think we were going to tell them about our sexcapades in the West Coast, but I guess it's all out there now.
I guess it is. I'll have to edit this out. It's a long beep.
How was your week?
Oh, it was not bad. It's like we talked about it though. It's weird. It felt super short. Like the weekend was super short, but the week itself felt long. That's all kind of a blur.
Yeah, I feel you.
How about you, man? You doing all good?
Yeah, I guess so. I go to work and then I come home.
Nice.
Do the same thing the next day. But anywho, we will jump into the news. I'm going to be honest, at least on my end, it's a pretty pathetic news week.
I mean, yeah, it's not the best, but we'll find a way to make it an hour long, more than likely.
That's true. So I'll start with a couple little tidbits here. The Batgirl HBO movie has begun production.
Yeah, and I also saw a thing where they were celebrating Brandon Fraser's birthday on set.
Oh, I
They
missed
had,
that. That sounds wholesome.
yeah, the I'm assuming director and someone else were buying with a birthday cake. So I was like, that's nice.
That's awesome. Hopefully that movie is good.
Yeah, I don't have the highest expectations for it, which I think is like perfect for it. I mean, like worst case scenario, I'll be like, this was disappointing. Like this was about where I expected it, but then otherwise, I'll be like, boy, this is way better than I thought. I heard a rumor too that the guy that's making it is like pushing really hard for Ben Affleck, but there's some pushback from Warner Brothers about that. So we'll see how that goes.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be in the same universe, and that's why we have J. Jonah Commissioner Gordon. So
Commissioner J. Jonah Gordon.
he's like, give me pictures of Batman. So I don't know how, like, you've not watched any Doom Patrol this season, have you?
Sadly, no.
Okay, well, there was these characters introduced in I think the third episode or second, maybe I don't remember. They were introduced and they were called the Dead Boy Detective Agency. And
Like the comic series.
yes, and they were introduced in that, and like I said, one of the episodes, and they're going to be getting a spin-off series coming up, but they've recast the two leads. They've recast like the two dead boys basically. So it's Jaden Reverie is now going to play Charles Roland, and George Rextrew is going to play Edward Payne. George Rextrew's never acted before. Like this is his big debut. So let's hope he doesn't suck. Because the dead boys were actually a lot of fun in that episode that they were in. And like they also had like a psychic girl that was with them. And her whole thing is like she wants to find the devil that, or not the devil, the demon that possessed her, because like when it left her, it took all of her memories of her family. So now she's like, I need to find that and get those memories back. And I'm like, that's super interesting. I want to see more of this. And so now that we're getting this, I'm like, okay, hopefully it's still of quality.
I agree. I read a bit of, I forget which series it was. I think it's like the second series of Dead Boy Detectives. But anyway, what I read of it was really fun. It was just like, this sounds interesting. And I would read like one or two issues, but I'm sure those trades are probably long out of print.
Yeah.
But fun fact, Casey, do you know what the first comic appearance of the Dead Boy Detectives is?
I do, because I looked it up. It's Sandman, whatever.
Sandman 25.
Yeah, I was gonna say 22, but yeah. So it like they're a lot of fun in the show. It sounds like they're a good bit different between the show and the other, but I think the weirdness stays. So I think that's all that really matters.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So Colin Farrell is reportedly getting a Penguin spin-off show or movie on HBO Max. And that was rumored like a while back, but I
Yeah.
guess now it's like a little more official.
Yeah, that should be cool. I'm really excited to see him as the Penguin, even though that's such a weird casting decision, especially like if someone said that like 20 years ago, you'd be like, what are you on? He's Batman. That's what we're going to cast him as.
Right. I'm all in for it though. I like him as an actor a
I
lot.
do too.
So I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I'll for sure check it out. I mean, there's not a lot that I watch on HBO Max, so it's nice when I get something I can watch. So we're gonna get a live action Mega Man movie from Netflix, which is pretty cool. I don't know much about it. That's all I really saw was that we're getting one. So I have a feeling if they try to do like Mega Man as an actual person, it's gonna be real bad though. Like if
Yeah.
they get the kid from Stranger Things dressed as Mega Man.
Actually, he's kind of got the look for it. You just need like a smallish boy in a metal suit, right?
I
It's
hate
gonna
that idea.
look like the American cover art for Mega Man 1.
Or like, I mean, all of the old Super Nintendo ones, like the cover art is the best. It's so like, I'm just like, I remember as a kid, like he'd always have a gun in his hand. I
Yeah.
was like, boy, he's got a gun. This is so cool.
Can't wait to use that in the video
I
game.
think there was even a princess on one of the covers.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right. So the Game of Thrones spinoff Dunk and Egg has gotten its writer and executive producer in Steve Conrad. Conrad worked on Patriot, Perpetual Grace, and LTD. I don't know what any of those are, but that's what he's worked on. But yeah, the Tales of Dunk and Egg, I love that book. It is so good. It's just like some short stories based on two very important characters in the Game of Thrones lore. And to see those tales, like those tales are going to translate well to live action, especially if they get that Game of Thrones budget. I think it's going to be awesome. I just hope that that the casting and everything is done well too. But I'm glad that this is finally moving forward, and I'm really excited.
So these are characters that the Dunk and Egg are characters we've seen if you've seen Game of Thrones.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, because you said they're very important characters, so I didn't know.
Right. So Egg is a nickname for Aegon Targaryen, and the Targaryens are very important.
That's
And
with that's like the one, like the little guy and his siblings, right? Dinklage, Peter Dinklage.
no,
Oh,
they're
sorry.
the
Starks. That's the other family I know.
nope.
Okay, sorry.
So Amelia Clark, Daenerys Targaryen.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
her like ancestor.
Okay.
And then Dunk is also a nickname for Sir Duncan the Tall, which was turned out to be Aegon's bodyguard, but for a while they didn't get along and were sort of forced to be together, and then shenanigans ensues. But it's really good stuff. Like I can't wait. It
That does
makes me
sound like
want
a
to
fun
reread
time.
the book again. Yeah, like even if you've never read or watched anything Game of Thrones related, you can easily just enjoy this for like a cool medieval type story.
Now, is there worry as a Game of Thrones fan that they're gonna just fumble it like they supposedly did with the final season? I don't really know because I wasn't invested when I was watching it with Brie.
No, because those two guys are not involved in this, and like these stories are like done. Like
Okay.
it was in the book. The story has been told. All they have to do is follow the source material,
Okay.
like the two dummies did with the first handful of seasons. It only went off the rails when they ran out of source material and were like, we can finish this story. They couldn't. But
I
anyway.
gotcha. Okay, man. Okay, so this is just like I don't really think this is huge news because it's kind of like no duh. This is what Marvel does. But Dustin Daniel Cretton is going to return to write and direct Shang-Chi sequel. Like I said, no one's really surprised by this. I mean, yeah, the only thing that would have been surprising is if they're like, we're not doing a sequel, but you knew they were going to.
I need to watch it. I know it's on Disney Plus.
I need to too. I'm still like, after seeing some of the trailers where it looked like he actually was using the 10 rings of power and all this stuff, I'm like, this is a layup, guys, and you're just giving him superpowers. I don't want this.
Oh yeah, I hear it has nothing to do with Shang-Chi comics.
Yeah.
But I actually haven't read too many of those, so it's probably better for me.
Yeah, neither have I. I've not read enough, but still, it's like I know enough that I don't want this.
Yeah. Okay, and then my final bit of news is we talked about Transformers and G.I. Joe, the rights being sold off, and it's looking like Image Comics is going to be the new home. That's where all the rumors are pointing. Apparently, even one of the higher ups at IDW like is left for another company. So it sounds like there's some real like crap happening behind the scenes. So, but anyway, Image Comics used to put out one of the GI Joe runs whenever Devil's Due Publishing was publishing through Image. That was like early 2000s, I think.
That was actually the Devil's Due stuff was the stuff that I would read of GI Joe back in the Walden Books days.
Right. They, Devil's Due used to have like a lot of decent properties, but I hear that they weren't able to pay up on their end, which is a shame. But anyway, could be the new home for Transformers and GI Joe. So we'll see.
And so my last two bits of news, I'll go with the depressing news first. The could be depressing news first. I'll go with the exciting news. So according to both CBR and Bloomberg, Dark Horse may be selling. They've apparently hired an advisor that's like, hey, let's just see what you guys can get get on the market for it. So I don't know where this would lead to all the different stuff, but there's been some people, just these are regular folk saying this, and I think it'd be really cool if Netflix bought them out, since they already do stuff with Umbrella Academy, and then they could even do like this way, if they bought the rights to Dark Horse, they could then do Hellboy, like do a whole Hellboy universe on Netflix. They own the IPs then, and do stuff that way. I think that could work out really well for them. But like I said, that's just a thought. No one knows what really, if anything's even going to happen yet. But yeah, I just hope Disney doesn't get their grubby mitts on it.
I agree. And I think that like a couple of Dark Horse properties are rumored to be picked up at Netflix. So, I mean, that would make sense. I don't dislike that. It would just be like Disney with Marvel, where Netflix owns it and they're like, keep doing your thing with the comics, and then we'll do the show stuff.
Yeah.
It is a shame though. Hopefully, I don't know. I just don't want them to go away.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, it could be another one of those things too, where like this advisor's saying it, but then they're like, this is bad advice. And they just ignore it, So we'll just have to see. And then the last bit of news, and this is more exciting. Kevin Feige, very hemmed and hawed, but he did say Charlie Cox is going to return as Daredevil, but he wouldn't say where. And there's a lot of people that think he's going to pop up in Hawkeye, because there's been a big rumor going around that Vincent, whatever his name is, that played Kingpin, is going to show up in Hawkeye in a fat suit and CG, which is such a bad idea. Just leave him normal. But he's going to appear, and that's going to bring in Charlie Cox Daredevil. But then there's also been the prevalent rumors and probably Photoshop pictures of Charlie Cox showing up in Spider-Man. So maybe he's going to appear in any of those. There's also rumors he was going to be in She-Hulk. So no matter what, we're going to get some Cox. So that's exciting.
So I'm going to touch on some Hawkeye spoilers real quick. So if you guys don't want Hawkeye spoilers, then skip ahead a couple, the 30-second button a couple times. So I just watched episode 3 yesterday, and Echo shows up. And Echo is a Daredevil character, right?
Yeah, I think she's Bendis.
Was she? Okay. I couldn't remember. But and where they're at with Echo in the show, using Daredevil like doesn't really work out, but you know, it would also make sense that way too. And also, Vincent D'Onofrio hasn't really hidden the fact that he's showing up in this show, because
Really?
I guess like on Twitter or somewhere, he's just like, oh man, the new Hawkeye show, can't wait to watch it. And everyone's like, is Kingpin in it? And he's like, I don't know, but it's gonna be a great show. So like he is not hidden that he's like gonna pop back up somewhere.
Yeah, that's really funny. It'd be really good if this was like just him being like just weird, and then he doesn't show up at all in Hawkeye, but then he pops up in like Multiverse of Madness.
Right. He's just like, no, guys, I really like Hawkeye. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
he's my favorite superhero.
We'll see. Either way, I want more of him as Kingpin, and I want more Charlie Cox as Daredevil, because they were both amazing.
Yeah, I want the whole cast back because like we talked about once, where the actress that played Karen Page was like very sad on a podcast talking about how no one hires her anymore. So I want her to come back too.
Also, I heard somewhere, I don't know where, that like I think her husband is blind.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so she was like really like emotionally tied to Daredevil anyways because of that. And I was like, oh well, that's a neat fact I didn't know before.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But that's all our news. So I think we can cut to the break.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be right back. I feel like I had a story I meant to like write in the notes to talk about this, and now I don't remember what it was.
Dang it.
It is a real shame. It was going to be crotchety old Jake complaining about something again.
And that's everybody's favorite Jake.
Yeah, I doubt it, but I don't think anyone's really rushing over to the YouTube to hear me complain about stuff.
I don't know. I think I have fun with it. So that's all that matters.
But dang, yeah, I don't know. What do you got for me?
I mean,
this is gonna make a terrible YouTube segment.
I know we'll just build it up. Be like, guys, me and Jake, we shit, man, we solved a lot of issues with the world this week. You know, we just like let them know that way, and then they're like, it sounds mysterious. We got to listen, and we get those views up.
Well, here's something I will do. Unless you're like, no, I don't want you to talk about Hawkeye anymore, I'll give just like a quick minute or two of how I'm feeling about the series so far.
Talk all about it, man.
All right. It's cool. Like, I like it a lot. A lot of people were like, episode 1 and 2 were pretty good, but 3 is like amazing. I thought all of it was pretty good. Like, there's a lot more just straight up action in episode 3, but like the show as a whole is good. Kate is very likable. Jeremy Renner is like his Hawkeye is like such a dad, like actually in the show, and then just like the vibe he gives off. But their dynamic is great, and it's like, man, it's a shame that this is probably like Renner's last outing as Hawkeye in this show.
Yeah.
And it sucks because like the last couple things I think have been way better than like Avengers 1 and stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I loved that they went and stayed at his house in Ultron and like just got to see him be a family man. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds boring just hearing it like that, but honestly, it was like some of the best stuff.
I will say though, it was pretty funny when you're like, people are like, the first 2 episodes are pretty good. That third one's awesome. And you're like, I thought they were all pretty good. It's just like, it sounds like you really weren't that impressed.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like pretty good is great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
And
I
like,
got you, man.
it's like, oh, they were fine, but fine is good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You just, I don't know, you downplay everything, I guess. But
You gotta sound cool for the
yeah,
views.
it's okay, I guess. But no, it's cool. Like I've said with all these shows, man, you should check it out sometime.
Dude, I plan on it, but I still need to finish those last 3 episodes of Rurouni Kenshin.
Is it that much of a struggle for you?
No, I mean it's just finding time. That's
Yeah.
where I'm at right now with it, because I got hit with a lot of shit that I had to do for a little bit. I was like, I gotta bleep this out, but I'm like, oh wait, this is YouTube. I don't have to.
Yeah.
But so now it's like I'll be able to get that done this week, and we should be able to record a secondary one this week, and then I'll start the next show. So
Sounds good. All right. Thanks for listening to the advertisement, folks. And if you want to hear my take on the first 3 episodes of Hawkeye, the Disney Plus series, then go check out our YouTube. And that is Two Worlds Podcast on YouTube.
it was a pretty good time us
Yeah.
talking about it.
I mean, it was pretty good.
It was fine.
All right, Casey, what comics did you read this week? I have a feeling that there's a lot. Like we're gonna be putting that hour to the test.
Yeah, there's a few. So I got Daredevil 36, The Death of Doctor Strange, White Fox. I think that's just number 1. Chew number 10, Hotel 1 of 5, Spider-Man, The Death of Doctor Strange number 1, The Amazing Spider-Man number 80, Teen Titans Academy number 8, Wonder Girl number 5, Justice League Incarnate 1 of 5, The Joker 2021 Annual, and Action Comics 1037. What about you, dude?
I didn't get through all the comics I wanted to read this week, which was a shame, but there was just like a trillion books out. But I read the Wonder Woman Annual, the Justice League Dark Annual, Hellboy Bones of Giants number 2, King of Spies number 1, the Robin Annual, the Batman Annual, Wonder Girl number 5, Hardware number 3, Action Comics 1037, Justice League Incarnate number 1, Teen Titans Academy number 8, and the Nightwing Annual. So and most of Wonder Woman Historia.
Yeah. And you didn't say Joker Annual, correct?
Nope, didn't get to it, or any of the Death of Strange stuff.
Okay, so it was just Teen Titans Academy, Wonder Girl, Justice League, and Action that we read together?
Robin?
No.
You should have. It was cool.
Yeah, it sounded interesting, but I was just like, oh man, there's just too many dang. Like, had they not released like 15 annuals in the same week, I would have been more interested in getting more annuals. But I'm like, y'all, you don't need to be doing it this way.
Well, here's the thing, because I heard this complaint from everybody that walked through the door, and what can you do? But not all of them were supposed to come out this week.
Oh,
but
yeah,
with
no,
delays getting pushed back a week or two, it all just kind of happened to come out that way. But whatever. People were like complaining to me like I had control over the schedule. I'm like, just shut up. Buy it or don't complain about it.
I like to think that you're like, well, I'm gonna go talk to DC.
And like, we're gonna get this. Let me call up my buddy Jim Lee and we'll get this straightened away for you. It's like, dude, I don't even know what's gonna show up in these boxes anymore with the delays, man.
Yeah, Jake, I'm so sorry about this, man. We'll get it figured out next time. Don't worry about it. Because he's super nice.
Yeah. It's like, but also tell your customers to suck it.
You do know all of your customers that listen to this are now turning it off, right?
They know how I am. It's fine.
You're like, nah, they're the cool ones.
All right. So let me pull up the Hour Man 1 hour comics review World's Fair 2021. And here we go. You or me? Who's starting?
Beauty before not as beautiful. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you for the compliment.
You're welcome, sir.
We'll go with Hardware number 3. And because there's so many, I'm going to try to be as brief as I can on these. I liked it. We get background info on Curtis and an evil Edwin Alva, who has made everything seem like Curtis's fault. We get the background info on Alva's old partner, with which he had a falling out, and Curtis goes to see him. And then at the very end, that partner gets called up by Alva with an offer to betray Curtis and hand him over. And it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. But all the backstory was cool and very much needed for me to continue caring about these background characters. But it was really good. Art is spectacular as always. 8 out of 10.
Nice, man. Okay, so first up for me is going to be Doctor Strange, or the Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man #1. And so this is by Jed McKay and Marcelo Ferreira on the art. And this is a lot of fun. So Ben goes to see Spider-Man, Felicia's there, and then Doctor Strange is like, hey, Pete, I'm dead. Could you run some errands for me? Basically. But Doctor Strange errands aren't like everybody else's, so they have to do all this magic stuff that they deal with. It's a lot of fun. Moon Knight has a cameo in it that Jake is gonna flip his lid over because it's hilarious. And I do want you to text me once you read that part because it's fantastic.
I will.
And throughout this whole time, Ben's just trying to prove to Felicia that he's gonna be a good Spider-Man. This is a really good issue. It's a lot of fun. It's actually kind of better than the Amazing Spider-Man series that we have right now. But yeah, it was a good time. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
Excellent. I look forward to reading it. All right. Now we've got the Robin Annual. And this was written by Joshua Williamson, and art was done by Roger Cruz. So it's mostly a flatline origin story, which was cool. And then Damien gets some files on some of the other contestants, which is cool because they look sort of like the old who's who of the DC Universe pages, which I always got a kick out of. But yeah, it's interesting. I like all the info on the characters. I like Flatline's origin. Roger Cruz's art is, in my opinion, better than Gleb's, so this was a step up. And yeah, I'm gonna go with another 8 out of 10.
I do like after that one time Gleb mouthed off on the internet, we now always dunk on him. We're like, oh, this art's way better than him. It's like, well, that's not necessary, but we're gonna keep doing it.
Oh, I know. And he's a fine artist. It's the thing. He's just up his own butt.
Just a tinge. So next up for me is going to be the Joker Annual, and this is by James Tynion and Matthew Rosenberg with Francisco Francavilla on the art. And I love Francavilla's art, so that's like an automatic. Just oh yeah, Casey's gonna love this. And so yeah, it's just kind of like the process of like, oh yeah, the regular crime people are out of Gotham, and now we're getting the weirdos in. And it's just this kind of level of Joker. And like, so Joker's doing like all these weird pranks and stuff. And like, it's Gordon trying to live his life, but not doing a good job of it. It's just pretty good, pretty great all in all. Yeah, I like it. And it's like with this.
You say it's pretty good.
I mean, I'd say it's fine. Yeah, if you want to get that joke, watch us on YouTube. But yeah, it's like it's good, but like the only downside is this is another flashback story, so it doesn't do anything to really move the plot along. Like the only difference is like we're seeing Gordon know that Barbara is Batgirl, and so Batgirl gets put in these sticky situations, and like his dad senses are tingling and he is not having it. But like that's the only like really kind of part that it adds to Batman. Otherwise it's just like, oh yeah, this is something not really necessary. So the art in it's fantastic. The story, the way the characters are written is very well. It's just there's no real need for the story. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 for that reason.
Okay. So next for me, I will do King of Spies #1. It's written by Mark Millar and art by Matteo Scalera. In like the first 5 pages of this book, I hated it and I nearly stopped reading it because it's just like panel after panel of just run and gun shooting, explosions, just like I don't, but there's like no flow to it. It's just like random panels of all this crazy stuff happening. And then it turns out that that was just like a flashback. And now we get to uh, the same guy who's like a British spy, and he's older now. And he starts coughing up blood. He goes to the doctor. They find a really big tumor. He has 6 months to live. Going through all this has made him realize that the stuff he did while being a British spy were not good things. He did a lot of bad stuff for just the people in power that weren't good people either. So he decides that with the little time he has left, since he has like no close friends or family, that he is going to uh, bring down as many bad people with him as he can before he dies. And so the later half of this was like way cooler than those first, just like flashback stories of him being James Bond, John Wick kind of guy. So I'm going to give it another issue. And if it still piques my interest like that second half did, I'll keep with it. But yeah, it was pretty neat. So I'm going to give it a 7 because those first few pages were like so unbearable to me. But the art was amazing. And I mean, that it's the same art on the inside too. So
Nice.
if you like Matteo Scalera, which I do, he did Black Science, which is cool. So anyway, if you like spy stories, then check it out.
Right on. Okay, so next up for me is gonna be The Death of Doctor Strange, White Fox. And this is by, I'm gonna pull up the whole list of names: Alyssa Wong and Addie Tong semicolon Lucino Vicho did the art. I like that. I was surprised by how much I like this. I don't know White Fox at all, but yeah, White Fox kind of teams up with that sword dude. Blanking on his name.
Sword Master.
Swordmaster and the Captain of Tomorrow. That's not Captain Tomorrow is not a person. It was like a reference to the Sky Captain in the world tomorrow.
Yeah, Sky and Sword are just basically the same thing.
Tomato potato, as they say. But yeah, so they team up. It's a lot of fun. Cool time. Like, shows you this new character. I'd read more of these two because they're written very well. And yeah, I'm interested in seeing where her story and his story kind of go from here. Probably will never find out. Probably like next time they're brought up, it will have nothing to do with this because that's how Marvel does things. But I liked it.
Maybe White Fox is getting a mini series.
I mean, I won't hold my breath. I'll say that. But hey, if they do, I'm going to read it. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. And
Excellent.
the art is fantastic too.
You were the second person in 2 days that I've heard say that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to catching up. All right. Hellboy, The Bones of Giants #2. It's written by Mike Mignola and Christopher Golden, and art by Matt Smith. So yes, Hellboy is getting more and more visions thanks to Mjolnir that is fused to his hand, and he like sees a Valkyrie and has a conversation with her, and a conversation with Ratatosk, which is the magical squirrel in Norse mythology. And then we find out that the doctor or the professor at whose house Abe and Hellboy are staying at is actually part of the shady end of all the stuff that's happening. And so their daughter is like helping them because she wants to find out like if her dad is really evil or just under the influence of the King of the Frost Giants, which apparently there is a cult that has found the tankard in which his soul was put into when he died. And now they're trying to find that tankard and resurrect the King of the Frost Giants. Of course, there's a cult that wants to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Hellboy and Abe and the daughter are all just trying to get to the bottom of it. And it is really cool. This is like one of the best Hellboy things I've read, period. So 10 out of 10 if you like Hellboy and or Norse mythology. Absolute must read.
Right on. Okay, so next up for me is going to be Chew, and this is by John Layman and Dan Boltwood. And this is probably the strongest issue of this new series yet. So this is kind of like the culmination of her traveling back in time, figuring out, basically like how to screw over this guy that's like threatening to kill her grandpa while also giving him the painting that he wants. And so she finds out how to do it, and it's pretty ingenious, and yeah, it's a good time. And I like Saffron a lot. I still don't like her douchey boyfriend because character is a douche, but she's getting like Saffron's now like kind of becoming like a crime boss and setting up a heist. So that's gonna be pretty cool to see where that goes. I really like this issue a lot. I'm gonna give it a 9.5. It's not quite perfect, so I'm gonna just dock at that 0.5 because I'm just a mean guy, but I liked it a lot.
We're back to the 0.5s already.
I know.
All right. The Justice League Dark Annual. And I really should have had the credits pulled up before now, but you know how we do on this show.
We're doing it live.
It's written by Ram V and Dan Waters, with Dan Waters getting the script credit and then Christopher Mitten on art. This book was really, really good. I really hope that these Justice League Dark backup stories in Justice League get collected, because I read this and I was just instantly wanted more. It sets up a really, really cool story. Do you know who Mr. E is from DC Comics? He's like a magic guy, wears an all white suit. He's blind.
I mean, no, I don't, because I'm thinking of a mystery from Mystery Incorporated. So no, I don't know who that is. Because I was like, that sounds familiar. That sounds like a character's name. But
Well, anyway, apparently this is like the first issue where Zatanna is the team leader. I don't know who was the team leader before because I'm not reading those stories, but anyway, everything kind of falls apart. Mr. E shows up and is like, hey, the visions that you and Dr. Fate have been getting about the Tower of Fate falling to Merlin's hands, that's absolutely going to happen. Um, and everyone kind of blows him off and leaves. But then he has a conversation with Zatanna and Dr. Fate at the end of the issue. And he's like, look, part of Merlin's soul was stolen from him by an old god that was trapped in the source wall that's now broken. Like, but on my way here, I found that part of his soul, and it's the part of his soul that is like young and happy and like has hope. And the Merlin that you guys are about to go up against is the adult, cold, callous Merlin without that fun, youthfulness to him. It's like, so I will give you that part of his soul that you can fight him with in exchange for the ruby that Merlin uses, which absorbs magic. And Zatanna makes the deal with him. And Dr. Fate's like, it is Khalid, by the way. You were saying that you thought it was, and it is. He was like, should we have really made that deal? Because if we ever have to go up against Mr. E, he'll just absorb our magic and there's nothing we can do to stop him. She's like, I guess we'll come across that, when the time comes, but or deal with that when the time comes. But we need every bit of help we can get against Merlin right now. So yeah. And then it was just a sort of at the end of it, it says the beginning. So I'm guessing this is like the start of the next arc. But man, it was awesome. The art wasn't my favorite. Um, I'm not super like, I know I've heard the name Christopher Mitten, but I don't know what he's worked on. But man, the story just made up for it. All these characters are so cool. Detective Chimp, Jason Blood, Fate, Zatanna, Constantine, like all really good stuff happening. I just don't know why they don't have their own book.
maybe that's when it means it's like this is the beginning, and they're gonna actually give them their own book after this again. That's
I
what I'm
hope
hoping.
so, because at least at my store, like this sold super well, man. People were like, oh man, a Justice League Dark issue again, and they all picked it up.
Yeah. So let's hope so, because yeah, I want that, but I don't want to pay for Bendez.
Exactly. But with that, I will give it a 9 out of 10.
Nice, man. Okay, so next up for me is going to be The Amazing Spider-Man issue 80. And this is by Cody Ziegler and Michael Dowling on the art. I really enjoyed the art in this. You have Spider-Man being all drugged up and, just not the happiest with his circumstances because the drugs are giving him hallucinations. And then he fights Craven and spoiler alert, he wins. And then he gets home to his lady. And then it's also now leading into the next arc where the head of the thing that owns Spider-Man's copyrights like, we got to go after this Spider-Man of the Bronx. And it's like they got pictures of Miles because he's using their copyright, so they're going to go after him next, which is pretty silly. And then Aunt May is very worried about Peter, and they don't know really how to treat Peter because they don't know that he's Spider-Man. So she calls an old flame to, who's very smart, to help her nephew. And
does he have robotic appendages?
He does. They go to the place and it, sure enough, he's like, you're as beautiful as the last time I saw you. And it's old creepy Dr. Ock. And I'm like, this is great. So I like that a lot. And yeah, I mean, it was like a perfectly solid issue. That's why it's getting a perfectly solid 7 out of 10.
All right. Hopefully there's no weird like Aunt May on Doc Ock action in the next issue.
I mean, Dan Slaughter already did that, so I think we're good. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was terrible.
It was a choice that he made as a writer. All right, so next we'll do the Wonder Woman Annual. I picked up the variant. I just got to show it off. I think it is so good.
That is pretty awesome.
So yes, it's written by Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad, and the art is done by Andy McDonald. I happened to flip right to the page this time.
Nice, good job.
But yeah, essentially, this guy shows up, this weird guy, and talks to Diana while she's going to a Themyscira exhibit at a museum. And he's like, I know who you are and all about the Amazons because my people live under Themyscira and we've just been biding our time for you to like die or leave so that we could take back our land. And we thought you were dead until you just came back. So that kind of, foils our plans. So that's why I came here to fight you. And yeah, so they have like a fight for a few pages, and then he essentially like blows up a bomb at this museum, and he's like, we'll see you again soon, and he leaves. And Wonder Woman is talking to her friend Etta, and Etta's like, well, I mean, it's going to be fine. You can kick this guy's butt. They've been hiding for all these years. They're afraid of you. She was like, well, yeah, but also I could absolutely tell during our fight that he wasn't going all out and we were at a standstill. So that has me a bit worried. And then it says to be continued in the trial of the Amazons, which I'm assuming is that Wonder Woman event that I was talking about a few episodes back. So we'll see. It's kind of weird. I just hate the whole, there's this whole group of people you didn't know about that was been here the whole time. You know what I mean? It's just like the sibling thing I've been complaining about, except now it's like an entire population. It's like the people at the Themyscira underneath that island have like portals to hell and stuff. They absolutely would know if these other people are down there. I think that's just so stupid.
I would have loved it if like it would have been the type of thing where Wonder Woman's like, yeah, I could have kicked his butt and we've known he's been there this whole time, but they're so weak and they're, and like us Amazons just feel bad for him. That just cuts to them like pretending to hide around like Themyscira, like they're like wearing like bad makeup and stuff, like they don't even know we're here.
That would have been a little more entertaining than what I read. Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't bad. I just didn't think it was good either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of have to give it a 5 because the art was okay, but it wasn't like Jimenez good to where it could save a book.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
got
where
you.
I'm at with it. Hopefully, whatever happens in the Trial of the Amazons, which I'm absolutely going to read, is better than that.
Okay, so next up for me is going to be Hotell by John Leese and Dalibor Talajic on the art. I'm probably mispronouncing his name, and I apologize. Um, so this is another, like, basically it's the same as the other one where it's an anthology series. You do have the curator of the hotel not looking the best. Like, it kind of picks up where the last one left off that way. And I mean, I need to read the other last one again. I need to get that in trade so I can like remember exactly what happened to him. I just remember the clown coming out of the painting. And so, like, yeah, it's another story. It's an ooky spooky story. It's pretty cool. Had its ending I did not see coming at all. And I even dropped a curse word, like what the, at the end, which is always a good thing when you're reading a horror-based book. I just wish we could have got a little bit more of what the heck's going on with that clown from the last, the last series. So I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I really liked it though. The art in it's good. And like I said, that story kind of blew my mind when I read, got to the end. I was like, I did not see that coming. It was a lot of fun.
Plus, maybe the clown will come back around in an issue or
I
two.
I do have a strong feeling that's gonna happen. So
All righty. Next for me is the Nightwing Annual. It's written by Tom Taylor and art was done by C.N. Tormey and Daniel HDR. And it was all right for a Tom Taylor Nightwing book. But basically, somebody or Barbara and Dick see body cam footage of Red Hood killing some people, some like mobsters with guns, of course. And she's like, I've got him tracked. He's at this warehouse. And Dick's like, okay, I'll go talk to him. And we get a flashback of when Jason was like new to Robin. And so Dick goes there and they have like a little outing, just the two of them of crime fighting. And, they build that brotherly relationship. But then it cuts back to real time and Jason's like, I know you're there. Are you here to take me in? And then it shows Dick up on a rafter and he jumps down. And he's like, nope. If you say that it wasn't, or then, Jason said that he didn't do it. And Jason's like, or Dick says, I know, I believe you. If you say you didn't do it, then you didn't do it. And Jason's like, yeah. And also I stopped using guns. I just have this crowbar, which I think is a bit weird, but and the weirdest part is like, I don't know, it's almost like Tom Taylor was also making fun of it because he's like, Batman was afraid of bats and, he's using that fear in his crime fighting. And Dick's like, so shouldn't you be dressing up as a crowbar?
that's pretty great.
Yeah, which made me laugh. But anyway, so yeah, they go because they caught wind of Red Hood attacking somebody again, and it turns out that they were FBI agents, so not really mobsters, so that doesn't look great. But anyway, any guesses, Casey, who is traipsing around as Red Hood, who looks exactly like Red Hood even with the helmet off?
I mean, Hush. I don't know.
Clayface.
Oh, okay.
um
Which Clayface?
well,
Which of
right,
the five?
right, it's gosh, I'm blanking on the name, but anyway, it's not the one that was like in the detective team a while back.
Not the one that was in Catwoman?
Right, because isn't that the same one, or are those different
Not
ones?
sure. I am really not sure. Dude, I've said this before, Casually Comics, she lays out all of the ones. And maybe not, I don't know if she's ever finished it because I think she got to Clayface Face number 5, but then like they've done a continuity change now where like some of the stuff that she talked about took place before they switched stuff up. So now it's like some of that stuff is non-canon, and
Right.
so I really like, it's just like it's such a mess with the way Clayface stuff is.
I think the one in the detective run was Basil Carlo, I think,
Okay.
which is like the second one, because the original like was just like a Silver Age thing. It didn't last for very long, if I remember right.
Yeah, but I think he came back. He came back when they did this thing. He tried to get Clayface powers then because he didn't
Oh,
have
okay.
Clay powers.
Gotcha.
He was Golden
Well,
Age. He was Golden Age, and the second
Golden
one
Age.
was the Silver Age weirdo that then they tried to use his body to get his powers.
Right. Well, this one I just finally flipped to it is Preston Payne. So I don't know which one that is, but anyway, they stop him. You know, clear Red Hood's name basically, and then there's a little callback to the throwback where they were Robin and Nightwing. So it ends on a nice little wholesome note, but anyway, it was fine. Like I like this more than the regular Nightwing stuff going on. Um, Plus, it's always fun when Nightwing and Red Hood team up because that doesn't really happen too often where they're not just like fighting each other.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know, it's just enjoyable. But I'm gonna give this like a 7 because it doesn't like, and I know it's an annual and annuals don't really have anything to do with the main story. But it was mostly just fine. It's just your average Clayface is masking as somebody else and they have to go stop him and clear his name. It's average, but it's still a good time. So 7 out of 10.
I just think it's like I again, this is my headcanon. Anytime with Jason gets popped up, especially mentioned with Barbara, I like to think like he's like, so Barbara say anything about me, Dick? And he's like, no, not really. He's like oh.
Dude, I was talking about Three Jokers with a customer not too long ago, and he was like, I actually like Three Jokers. Why didn't you like it? So I went through all that stuff, and he's like, man, the more you talk about it, the more I don't know why I liked it.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so next for me is Daredevil number 36, and this is by Chip Zdarsky with Manuel Garcia on the art. And the art in it, and this is fine, but I will say, like, Chichetto, when he draws Elektra and Typhoid Mary, he does their hair in this like bonkers awesome way. And this one is like he just draws their hair normal, which it's fine, but I like the Chichetto insane hair, like big hair. But yeah, like so Daredevil's out of prison, and Foggy and his old girlfriend are there, and they kind of talk to him, but then Elektra shows up in a sports car and he's like, see it, nerds, and he like pieces out and goes with Elektra. And then he's like, you want me to trust you? Like he's talking to Elektra as Elektra like gets in her underwear and goes into a lake, and she's like, yeah, we need to talk. And then as he's like, I'm not gonna trust you, as he's like taking his clothes off and goes in the lake with her, it's like, okay, Daredevil, I know you haven't been in prison that long, get out of here. But then it's like, it's kind of her trying to get him to trust her, trying to get him to trust her. And then also like Daredevil and he talks to Kingpin for a little bit, and Kingpin's getting ready for his big wedding, and people are also dealing with superheroes kind of overstepping their bounds as being hero, basically vigilantes. It's a lot that goes on, but it doesn't feel like it's overstuffed. I really like this issue. There's some stuff going on with the new Kingpin of crime. It's good. I'm very excited for Devil's Reign. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10.
Good thing it's coming out next week, huh?
Right.
All right. Oh, next, I just have the ones we read together.
Same here, my man.
Man, good thing I couldn't read all the books I wanted to.
I know, right?
All right, you pick the order. Actually, you picked the order last time. I'll pick the order this time.
Okay.
Let's do Batman. Then
actually, dude, I don't have that one.
Oh, you didn't get that one. Well, then I have one more. So we'll do Justice League, then Teen Titans, then Action, then Wonder Girl.
Okay.
Okay, so the Batman Annual. It is written by James Tynion, and art was done by Ricardo Lopez Ortiz. And this is honestly just the finale of all those Ghostmaker backup stories where he's fighting like the instigator, which still just cracks me up, and everybody else. So, yeah, it's just a lot of action. I think the art's awesome. It's like Riley Rossmo meets anime, and I think it's incredible. But yeah, he basically just has to fight all those guys one more time and then take out Miss Midas or whatever her name is. But we get to see why him taking out Midas means so much to him. And it turns out that her parents, like, basically stole his parents' company and like nearly killed them just so that they would sign over the company to them. And he trained his whole life to get revenge on that, apparently, and to stop it from happening to anyone else. So, and then there's a little moment with Batman in there. So it was pretty cool. I think this needed to happen because those backups were just like him fighting everybody, and like the fight scenes were cool, but that's all it was. There wasn't much substance to it, where this gave all that substance. Um, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I'm gonna give it probably a good 8 out of 10. You, I mean, if you read all the others, you might as well pick this up and see how it all ends and comes together. But if you haven't been reading those backups, you definitely don't need to pick this up. Or if you didn't like the backups at all, then don't get this, because there's not much Batman. They should have called it the Ghostmaker Annual. But yeah, it was still neat. The thing is, Casey, is we've talked about this before. Ghostmaker is so good, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he one shots your universe, like whichever universe yours is, and this is the same. And I don't think Ghostmaker is going to get used when Tynan is off the book, which is now he's off the book.
Yeah, that's such a weird way to end his run too.
It is. So, I mean, I think Ghostmaker is just going to go into the Hall of Fame for most unbeatable character ever in DC, right? Like,
Superman Prime would like have a word with you, I think, over that.
yeah, well, Ghostmaker beats him. I'm sorry. Ask James Tynan. But anyway, that's all I need to say about that one.
Okay, so Justice League Incarnate, number 1 of 5. I'm gonna try to pull up all of the artists because it looks like we have a bunch on this. Shoot.
It's on the first or second
Yeah,
page.
there it is. So it's by Joshua Williamson and Dennis Culver, and then we have Brandon Peterson, Andrea Bresson, and Tom Derenick. And this is a lot of fun. What did you think, man?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, see, I thought it was like a great time. We have basically a Avengers ripoff from another, from this other universe that that a robot came from that betrayed him.
Machine
And
Head.
yeah, old Machine Head, which is a terrible name. But they also bring in Avery, the Chinese Flash, which it's like when that all new Superman book was coming out, if you told me the Flash from that book was going to be the breakout character, I would have been like, I don't think that's right. But boy, is she, because she was great in Flash and she's cool in this. It's like, I like her, like there's no part of me that like dislikes her, but it's like, would not have expected this. But then we get like this Thanos ripoff that fights Darkseid, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I just had a good time with it. Did you like it though, besides it just being all right?
I guess. I mean, I liked who showed up at the end, or the
Yeah.
second to last show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think spoiler alert, it's Orion. The artist drew him so well.
Yeah. Has he always had a pupper? Because he's got a pupper here, and I don't recall him ever having a dog.
Nope. I don't know
Oh.
who that is, but I'm all about finding out.
Yeah.
The thing that I thought was like kind of dumb is, so Dr. Multiverse like opens up this portal, right? Or the boom tube. It's like, all right, Flash, you're the only one that can save the multiverse, and we have to go right now. And then she's like, wait a second, I can't. And then just goes into this like kind of monologue thing. And I'm sure Dr. Multiverse is like, uh-huh, okay, just like trying to keep the boom tube open so they can go save the multiverse. And then she's like, no, you can do it, come on. And then they go. But just that whole big conversation just kind of took me out of the moment, because it's like action, 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 we gotta go right now. And she's just like, I don't know if I can.
Hey, in all fairness, she's a Flash. That happened in literally half a second.
Yeah,
and like she does all that, then Dr. Multiverse is like, what? You said that too quickly. Can you slow down? I can't understand you.
I just thought it was goofy, since ultimately she agrees to it anyway. So like they could have taken that out and she just jumped through the portal. I don't think it added too much to her character for them to have that conversation. But anyway, I don't know, man. I'm a sucker for the fourth world stuff, so I'm gonna check out the next one. But if I'm still just pretty meh on the next one, I don't think I'm gonna keep going with it, because it's a whole lot going on with a bunch of characters that just don't matter. Ultimately, they're all from different universes. And yeah, you can say that this is like saving the omniverse or whatever so that it does matter. But outside of this book, we're not going to see any of these characters again, except for freaking Earth 2 Thomas Wayne Batman, Earth 23 Superman, and then apparently Chinese Flash. But like there's 4 or 5 others, and
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Okay, first off, Captain Carrot will always matter. But secondly, I will say, in all honesty, I think it does matter, because I have a feeling this is going to lead, like it's still going to lead into the big event that's going to be coming up next. That's going to alter everything that's ever happened in DC Comics like we've never seen before. So if we're going to read that, I think this will probably lead into it, if that's even going to be a thing that happens, but I bet it is.
I just hope that if I do continue with this, that it actually wraps up on like Infinite Frontier, whatever it was called. Was that it? Infinite Frontier?
Yeah. It's gonna be like probably like that, where it leads into another series. It's like, oh, okay. This
like Darkseid's just gonna get away and they'll be like, to be continued, and it's like, give me a fucking break.
But what would you rate it, man?
Probably a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm at an 8. I'm just nicer than you today, I think. Not as curmudgeon-y.
I'm not a curmudgeon. It just wasn't that good.
No. I'm saying there are days where I'm very curmudgeon-y.
Oh, okay.
And today is not one of those days, apparently.
Fair enough. All right, next is Teen Titans Academy number 8. And this is written by old Timmy Sheridan with art by Mike Norton. So Casey, I will ask your thoughts on this.
I thought, first off, a lot of these these characters are written much more jerky than what they normally are. And also like Wally West hitting on people, and then they have to bring up the fact that he's married. And he's like, oh, my wife's fine. Like that's very out of character for him. And then also everyone knowing that he murdered everybody is a bit weird. Like even the parents before he got there, like, hey, isn't that the guy that got killed by the other Flash? It's like, how do they know this? Like,
yeah,
was Lois just being like, I don't have a story this week, Perry? And Perry is like, Superman, write a story that he tells you. And she's like, sorry, Wally. And she writes the whole thing out.
Right. And to add to things that are dumb, Red X is just taking on everybody in Titan's Tower.
Yeah.
It's so stupid that Wally's like, I can unmask him in 2 seconds. And Red X is like, do it. I dare you. You think I'm not ready for that? It's like, you're not ready for that. The Flash could annihilate you in half a second. There's nothing he can put in that hood that would stop the Flash. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like that's the thing, that this is one thing that does annoy me with the Flash in general. And it's just when they put him against like normal people, like they did this in I Identity Crisis too, where it's like, I don't care if Slade can move his sword, like, you know, like he knows where, he knows Flash's movements. It's like Flash can literally travel so fast he can move throughout time. And you're trying to tell me that, oh, just because you put some explosions, like if he kicks the Speed Force on, he should be able to unmask you, save all, stop all the explosions or whatever, and then still eat a whole sandwich while you're still trying to comprehend what just happened. So it just doesn't work. That's one of the problems with having the Flash, though. You have to try to write it in a way that it works, and it just didn't.
Yeah.
And then I will say one part that made me laugh. I don't know if it should have been funny, but when, like, first off, they're like trying to find the dial H, like the dial that they're stealing, like from one of their other kids, which, like, that's not cool. Don't be a jerk. But Gorilla Greg has a mask on because he's like, oh, no one's gonna know who I am.
I know, dude. It's
And then,
so hilarious.
And then this part when he's like, he's just destroying the room trying to find the dang thing. It's so funny.
Yeah, I agree.
What'd you think about the end, though?
The final page is my favorite part. I really thought the rest of the issue was just stupid, and
Yeah,
that sucks because Sheridan is way better than this.
I agree.
But I mean, we've been getting teases of him coming back, and it's finally happened. So
Maybe.
Well, maybe. I'm glad that Sheridan's doing it. I just want like that good Sheridan to be doing it.
Yeah.
This
and
was
then
just a low point.
And then we also, really quick, we always talk about with Nightwing and this, where it's like Dick is screwing around on Barbara and Corey, and it does seem like he's finally chosen Babs for now because Corey's not the happiest.
Yeah.
So
Agreed. But I am probably out of 5 on this one.
yeah, I'm at a 4. Like it was just kind of a letdown, all in all. Which
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just like you said, though. This is a letdown because his stuff is normally better than this.
Right. Like, I don't care who's under this hood unless it's like Bruce Wayne, which it's not. It's just like Cyborg gets annihilated by Red X, you know what I mean? And like he stops Starfire, and it's just like, dude, this is dumb.
And what's really dumb too, though, is like we are not invested enough in these Titan Academies characters. Like there's just no part of it that makes us go like, oh yeah, it's gonna be Bobby. It's like, who? Right. Like we need more of these books that tie it in so we know something about these characters, so it makes sense on who it could be. With now it's just like when they unmask him, we'll just be like, oh wow, it's him.
Right. And that's a problem anyway. Like I don't think they shouldn't have done Red X. There's no way that they can win with this, because say they do drag it out and they give us some more of these tie-ins to where we fall in love with these people, the hype's just going to keep building for who's under the mask, and it's just not going to deliver no matter how much we think, oh, Bobby's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
It'd be hilarious if like they finally they tie him up, they unmask him, and it's Gorilla Greg.
We'll feel really dumb about that mask comment if that happens.
We'll be like, how?
Here, I'll say this. I am that dedicated to Gorilla Greg. I love Greg. He's great.
Yeah, he's hilarious. But
hopefully the next one's better.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope Irie and Jay, I think that's his son's name. I hope they stay around because I've always been interested in reading more, but they're like a little bit too annoying to have in a Flash book. Because you're like, I just want to read Wally or Barry. I don't really want to read these two, his kids. So like having them in this would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and we got a Bunker sighting very briefly, which the continuity of Bunker, I've complained about the new 52 Teen Titans a lot, where it's like that Superboy's not the same Superboy and that Bart was not the same Bart. So, I mean, is Bunker like, oh, I don't know who those people were, but
yeah, I don't know either. it wasn't enough of an appearance for me to be like, it was pretty cool. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
literally just a blink,
yeah, he doesn't even talk. So we
right?
don't even get the terrible personality that Scott Lobdell gave him.
Yep.
But we got the best part, his costume.
Right.
All right. So next up is going to be Action Comics 1037. And this is by Philip Kennedy Johnson with Miguel Mendoca on the art. And boy, that art's fantastic, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And the story was pretty dang cool, I thought. A lot of cool stuff was happening. What do you think?
Yeah, I liked it overall. Again, this is kind of spoilery, but do you think that that character is actually dead?
Okay, so here's my theory, and I'll say this. Go ahead like 1 minute, guys. I'll actually try to put the timestamps how long our spoilers last for the Hawkeye and for this one. But so in Future State, if you remember, Superman died all the time. That's what they kind of talked about. They'd always bring him back. So I bet you Superman and Apollo are both dead. And then what's her name? The girl. I'm sure she's also dead. I bet you they get brought back and they just keep dying over and over again. That's what that's where my brain's going, because like that's kind of how they talked about in Future State is Superman, like Mongol killed him hundreds of times, he said. So that's what I think is going to happen. I could be wrong though.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's setting up a lot. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how long this is going to go on, but there's some potential for a lot of neat stuff to go down. It's just like, man, and I realize that it's not the same Mongol, but Superman's beat Mongol on his own plenty of times, and he is having trouble when he's got all these other like super strong characters with him. It's like,
But
how much more is this Mongol?
not that much more though when you think about it, because there's a couple things going into it. This is a weakened Superman. And then roll your eyes, but this is a weakened
No,
Super.
it was like a, yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I thought you were just like weakened. I thought that's what you were doing, but no, it's like a weakened Superman, and it's also they talk about how it's this planet is giving off red sun radiation. So like not only is he weakened, like it's like Superman's normally up here, he's now down here because he's weakened, and now he's down here because of the red sun. So they're very much stacking in Mongol's favor. And then Mongol even had the kryptonite weapon, and Superman just saw one of his friends die. So all of that added up together. That's why Mongol was able to beat him. And honestly, we've complained about this before, where Mongol should be a lot tougher than he is. Like how like we had Wonder Woman kicking his butt, like no problem. Like they made him a joke, and like now Mongol's being brought back to being awesome and a threat, which is perfect.
Yeah. Fair enough.
What do you think of the backup issue? I figured that one you'd actually read since it was one of your faves.
No, I did read it. It was pretty neat. I think the final page, it's like, okay, continuity time. He's gotten over this a few times now. So is it back to Flame is an issue for him? Like, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I can very much see it also because that character is kind of a joke, that it could just be like a one punch and he's done already type of thing, and then he keeps doing with whatever he's got to do for the other stuff.
It could be. I mean, it could be like that he'll say that was an issue for me at one time, but it's not anymore, and then deal with it. But also it just looks ridiculous.
Yeah, he does. That's one of the things that's got me thinking, like it is just going to be like John one punching him and then ending,
Yeah, it was neat though. I always like stories like this where John is shown kind of humanized a bit.
And I also like that it wasn't overly serious, because it's like that's one of the problems with a lot of the John Johns type of stuff is he is just like they don't know how to write him, and this was kind of like it gave me what little of the JLI that I read, like kind of like similar vibes to that, where he's like not just like the stoic serious guy all the time, that type of stuff. Like it gave him more personality.
Absolutely. He named his cat Double Stuff because
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter loves Oreos.
Yep.
It's good stuff. And I do want to point out, I picked up the variant for this one too by Julian Tedesco. It's
Oh,
amazing.
that is outstanding.
Yeah. What would you grade it?
I'm gonna go a whole 10.
Wow.
I liked
Okay.
it.
Okay. It's an 8 for me. I don't think I've gone higher. Have I got? No, I gave Hellboy a higher grade, but it was still one of the best of the week though, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, we've got a few minutes left. We'll talk about Wonder Girl #5, and it was written by Joel Jones, and then the art was done by uh, Adriana Mello, which, man, does she just mimic Joel's style, or were they both working on it? Because I could have swore some of these pages were Jones's art.
It's weird because it's like Joel Jones meets the Dodsons, like
Mm-hmm.
the best of both of them. And I mean, if that's not a great compliment, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
So yeah, the art in it is really, really good. And the story was pretty great also.
yeah, I agree. It was a little hokey when she was like stalling on that drink stuff, but
Yeah.
once they got out of that, I liked it. And then, you know, what'd you think about that last page reveal?
It was pretty cool. I like that, I mean, this book is called Wonder Girl, and we're getting literally all of them.
Yeah. And I think this is really adding to that like Wonder Women crossover that's coming up. Like we're
Yeah.
gonna see all of them. So that's pretty neat. Um, so yeah, I think I am at like a 9 on this one.
I'm at about an 8. I'll say 8.5. We'll give another 0.5 out there.
All right.
But yeah, that's all of our comics for the week. So what would you say you're excited for this coming week, man?
Arkham City, Order of the World, easily. Dark Knights of Steel, that one's up there too. And then I'll say One Star Squadron. I want to
Nice.
see how that one does.
One Star Squadron's on my list for sure. Devil's Reign, and then Crimson Cage is supposed to come out, which I am super up for.
What is that?
Crimson Cage, it's John Lee's wrestling book.
Oh. Is that in print? Was I supposed to get that for you?
Yeah, because I texted you about it like right after I found out about it, man. You even
Hmm.
texted me that you made the order, like you because you
I mean,
sent me it.
if I said I did, then I did. It's
Well, because
just
yeah, I mean you had like an actual email back and forth with John about it.
okay.
Because I remember
Oh,
you're like,
that I knew he said Hotel in this other title. But usually if it's a book that just one person orders, I don't add it to my full list in case someone
yeah,
else is like, I want that. It's like, well,
yeah.
you can't actually. But anyway, yeah. Thankfully, there's like less titles than this week. So maybe I'll be able to get through all the ones I want. But there's going to be some great titles out this week. Oh, and Williamson's Batman starts up too, so that's
Yeah,
exciting.
that should be a good time. I'm hopeful. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
I am too.
All right, so I was just thinking, I don't even remember where I got the idea for this from. I'm not going to pretend because I forgot that I even wrote this until today. But give me 4 times an artist or writer on a comic really surprise you, like where you were not expecting much, but then you're like, wow, this is a lot better than I thought.
Um, so it might be a Fantastic Three because I'm having trouble with the fourth, but Steve Orlando, um, like I was pretty cool on him, and then I read Darkhold and really, really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that that wraps up as well as it started. I'm also going to say Tim Seeley, his King Shark really made me like Tim Seeley a lot more, which again, I was just pretty cool on. And then I'm going to say Hellboy and specifically Koshé the Deathless because I had like no thoughts about that series or that universe at all until I picked up Koshé #1 just because it looked pretty neat from the cover. And then here I am since reading everything Hellboy that's ever come out. So I gotta say that one. And then I'm just having trouble coming up with a fourth. So I'll ask you what yours are.
So one of the ones that comes to mind for me is James Robinson. Like my first real like thing with him was Cry for Justice, which I loved the first issue I read, and then I read more and I hated it. So then like I was like,
So does he.
yeah. And then I read Starman because I was like, I got it for Christmas because I was just like, oh yeah, I remember seeing advertisements for this, and like I think it was Marvel versus DC. They had advertisements for Starman. I always thought he looked cool, and I was like, boy, this is amazing. And I found out that James Robinson wrote it. I'm like, what? This is the same guy? So, that was just a big surprise. Frank Miller is another one that comes to mind because it sounds crazy, but the second thing of Frank Miller's I ever read was All-Star Batman and Robin. And then I read his Daredevil. I'm blanking on the name. The really popular Daredevil one that he wrote.
Born Again.
Yes, that one. And that one is insanely good. It's crazy to me that Frank also wrote All-Star Batman and Robin because that thing is terrible.
It's in my top 5 worst I've ever read of all time.
It's impressively bad. I'll say that. Trying to think because there's some trying to think of like something art related because there's some out there that I'm like, ugh, when I see it, but then like I'll see it in action and I'll be like, oh, this is actually not so bad. Well, let's go with Gleb. We dunk on him all the time. Like he said some stupid things and I wasn't the biggest fan, but that last Robin, even though it was very much just still face centered when they were having a fight, wasn't that bad. And
good for you for speaking well of Gleb.
Yeah, I mean, I try my best. I know he's listening to this and he's just like, finally, they gave me something. And I'll say John, like on the subject of like old school stuff, I'm still not the biggest fan, but when you look at John Romita Jr.'s old X-Men run, that stuff is pretty good. Like that's about the best I can say about it because still not a fan.
Well, congrats to you for giving 4 answers instead of 3.
Yeah. Oh, here's one also that I'll throw out there too because this one's just so crazy to me. I used to not like Mike Mignola's art and also didn't like Darwin Cook's art. And then the more I actually got into that stuff, I'm like, holy crap, I love both of these so much. I don't know what young Casey was thinking.
Props to you for admitting that on air.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, it's crazy to me to think about that. I didn't like either of those. I kind of get not liking like old school Hellboy because it's different when you first see it, but still they're amazing.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I think that brings us to the end of the episode. So, all right, closing plugs. If you would, please go to facebook.com/2worldspodcast and give the page a like. You can also find us on Twitter at 2_worlds_PC and on Instagram at 2worldspod. You can email us at 2worldspodcast@gmail.com. And please like and review us 5 stars wherever you're listening to this. And if you would, go to the YouTube channel, which is just 2 Worlds Podcast, and subscribe to that as well.
And then tell us your thoughts if you think Hawkeye is pretty good or just all right.
And, we'd love to stay in chat, but we have to go polish some moonerangs. I'm sorry. We'll see you next time.
Bye.